So, our president did something that I quite enjoyed. He actually posted a meme. Sargon's already kind of covered it on his channel, but I'm going to go ahead and weigh in my thoughts on it. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you go to Sargon's Thinkery channel and go ahead and watch it. It's something like President Trump is going to body slam the establishment or something like that. It's a pretty recent video. But basically what Donald Trump did was he basically retweeted a meme that showed this wrestling match where CNN's logo thing was superimposed over some wrestler's face, and another wrestler came in and just like body slammed them to the ground, just, you know, brutal fucking hit. And then when that other wrestler got up and walked, well, it was Trump's head superimposed. You know, it's a short little clip, funny meme, and it's pretty indicative of what Trump's been doing to the mainstream media pretty much ever since he got in. Hell, even before he got in. And it's one of the reasons why we love him. Well, at least people that are sick and tired of the establishment, you know, fucking with us. So, kind of interesting as far as CNN's response. They get a woman to come on. Already one rung into the shit pit right there. But she's sitting there and saying that this was inciting violence against the media and that people need to stand up for freedom of the press. What? They need to stand up for freedom for you to blatantly fucking lie? To try to ruin people's lives for what? Some political gain, or just because they disagreed with you, or they called you out on a fucking lie, something along those lines? You mean freedom for that? Yet you don't want people to have freedom of speech to state facts. Well, you see, the thing is yeah, the media has a little bit of extra freedoms afforded to it, but that's because its job was to speak truth to power. You haven't been speaking truth to power. You've been pandering to power. But now the power is against your fucking narrative, and so now you're trying to go after it. And you're not even speaking truth to power as it is. You're making shit up. You're having to retract shit daily. So, CNN, I'm just going to tell you right now, that wasn't an incitement to violence. That was fucking funny. It's very indicative of what Trump's been doing to you. But the thing is it's not saying, oh, everyone should go out and body slam a journalist. Unlike what you sit there and support, where you sit there and say, oh, it's perfectly fine to punch a Nazi. If someone disagrees with the leftist rhetoric, it's perfectly fine to just go up and assault them. But it's not okay for them to defend themselves against you, because then they're just a violent piece of scum. All you have to do is just believe that they look like they could be, and it's okay to commit violent acts against them. You support Antifa, one of the most violent fucking groups that we have in this fucking country. You constantly spin them as the fucking heroes when they're not. And the reason why I say you have to spin them to be the heroes is because you edit your videos that you have. You edit the videos showing what they're doing, and you cut in the middle of the fight or something like that, or you show before the fight is instigated, and then you show the aftermath if one of the Antifa pricks gets their asses handed to them, which is more common than not. Because unless they can go ahead and get 5 people on one Republican, well, they don't stand much of a chance now, do they? Unless they come up and sucker hit them with a bike lock in a fucking sock. You know, prison style. So, they get a woman on, sitting there and saying, well, this is inciting violence. And then she goes after the head of Homeland Security, sitting there and you know, just sitting there and using the typical shaming language that women are so indicative of using. And so guess what? You lost all credibility there, especially with anyone who's actually a fucking MGTOW. At that point, they're looking at you going, oh, okay, so the person in charge of Homeland Security is 100% right, since you had to fucking go this route. Since you had to go to personal shaming language. And you have to sit there and say, oh, well, he's just a yes man. In other words, calling him a beta. Saying that he doesn't have any agency of his own. That he doesn't have enough of a mind of his own to actually make shit, make his own mind up. That he has to just agree with whatever the president says. That's actually not true. In fact, there are several people in Homeland Security that disagree with Trump. But the thing is nothing illegal happened there. That wasn't incitement to violence. It's called a fucking meme. It's a joke. Get a fucking sense of humor. But the thing is CNN has been inciting violence against Trump since he got in. CNN has been condoning violence against Trump supporters. They laugh whenever Trump supporters go ahead and do that. They make excuses whenever a Democrat goes out and uses fucking violence against Republicans. But then, as soon as some violence is there and it's a little ambiguous, they say, oh, well, this person was a Republican, so that was the reason why. It's because he was a Republican, and there couldn't have been any other reason. It couldn't be that this person was mentally unstable or anything like that. No, it's just because they're a Republican. But if it's a Democrat, it's any reason but them being a Democrat. It's mental illness, or it's something in their history, or something like that. You know, maybe they were touched when they were a kid. And so that's what caused them to go out and shoot up a group of people. That's what caused them to go out and fucking shoot up a nightclub full of gays and shit. Or, that's what caused them to go out and start randomly assaulting people on the fucking street, or going and shooting up a baseball practice for the Republican Party. Shit like that. You sit there and you make excuses. No one's buying your lies anymore. It's funny how you keep sitting there and saying, oh, your ratings are fantastic. People are tuning into you the same way, the exact same way that they tune in to fucking some Saturday morning cartoon. For entertainment value only. They don't take anything you say seriously. They don't take anything that you say to heart. No one fucking trusts you. The polls sit there and tell the fucking story. No one fucking trusts you. Hell, people trust Fox more than they trust you. That's fucking sad. But that's because Fox has been... all they have to do is call you out. All they have to do is actually report the news. They don't have to make anything up right now. Because the thing is the vast majority of the violence is coming from the left. Very little is coming from the right. And most of the violence that's coming from the right is in response to violence from the left. But you don't want to admit that. You don't want to admit that the violence coming from the right is typically in self-defense nowadays. You've been anti-police. You've been anti-white. You've been anti-male. Anti-straight. Anti-Christian. Well, guess what? A lot of our country is fucking Christian. A lot of our country is fucking white. 49% of our country is male. So, you're kind of pissing off the majority of people. The vast majority of people. We're getting sick and tired of your shit. And that's the reason why people sit there and cheer on memes like that. Where, someone's, body slamming CNN, or CNN's getting pushed off of a fucking roof. Something like that. That's the reason why people cheer at that. It's because they know you're full of shit. And it's funny to see your own bullshit style rhetoric turned against you in the form of comedy. Does it make it right? No. But the thing is it doesn't stop it from being funny. But I've already said this before. I love dark humor. I absolutely love dark humor. There's some things where I'm like, okay, that's in really fucking bad taste. But I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, that's inciting. No. It's called a joke. But the thing is I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of Americans that would absolutely love to see a CNN reporter out there lying through their fucking teeth and someone just randomly come up and boom, hit them, just like they did with that one alt-right motherfucker. Forget his name. Where people sat there and cheered it on and that sort of thing. You know, just a random fucking assault. And people were cheering it on because they didn't like the guy that was assaulted. But the thing is if someone was to run up and hit you while you're saying equally, if not more offensive shit, oh, the left would be screaming and howling, saying, oh, this is just showing violence against the left. This is constantly fucking happening. That's the reason why we support Antifa, and it's absolute violence. That's why we support Antifa walking down the street holding AKs. You know, it's kind of funny how the left is so anti-gun, and yet now they're starting to buy guns en masse. It's almost like they realize that they've, you know, poked the bear a little too much, and that shit's about to start getting serious. Because I've noticed something throughout the years. You have a few years where the Democrats are in there fucking everything up, driving up our debt, fucking up our jobs, so on and so forth. Then a Republican gets in. There's some turmoil. But shit gets done. Shit gets corrected. Then Democrats get back in once shit's been corrected. And it just repeats in a fucking cycle. Well, right now we're in the Republican cycle. But now, the Democrats don't want to give up their power that they've had. That power-hungry nature has come to full fruition. And the thing is now, you're bordering on treason. So that's kind of interesting to me. You think that you can go ahead and get away with treasonous shit and not have to pay the consequences for it. Let me ask any liberal out there. If half of the shit was said about Obama, that was said about Trump, if half of the shit that has been said that should be done to Trump was said that it should be done to Obama when Obama was president, do you think that those people would have been able to walk away scot-free? Hell no. Best case scenario, they get a trial. Worst case scenario, they get fucking black-bagged. Or end up, committing suicide with 9 bullets to the fucking back. In their own home. With all the doors and windows locked. You know, just saying. To all leftists out there, to all liberals out there, I want to say this. Be thankful. Be absolutely thankful to whatever God you worship that Republicans are not the same as you. You need to thank any God that you worship that we're not the same as you. Because if Republicans were even 1% as bad as you, none of y'all would fucking exist right now. We would have already had our Civil War, and you'd all be pushing up daisies. Because it would only take a couple months. Because one thing that I've noticed about Republicans is, yeah, they tend to sit back, they tend to take a lot, but once you get them to that snapping point, it tends to get really ugly, a lot more ugly than a leftist. But, figure it this way, a lot of that pressure is building up. You just keep shaking the bottle with that cork facing straight at your face. Eventually that pressure is going to build up to where that cork goes off. And when it comes flying out, well, it's pointing right at your face. You're not going to have a face left afterwards. So go ahead, keep shaking the bottle. That pop's the last thing you're ever going to fucking hear.